Are you ready for another monthly wrap up? Hello, welcome back to Sam Talks Nerdy. Hope you're happy, doing well, dominating life, crushing it, kicking ass, taking names. It is time for another monthly wrap up. Same deal as always, we take a look at the news from the previous month, this time being February. So without any further delay, let's get into it. Dylan Marduin has confirmed that he will return as Blue Beetle in the DCU, and this was confirmed while he was at the Saturn Awards. And while it's currently unknown how he will return, there are honestly two options. There is a second Blue Beetle movie, or the Booster Gold series coming to Max. And while I'm hoping for a Blue Beetle 2, I feel like the Booster Gold series is how we will see Blue Beetle return in the DCU. Honestly, either way can work. I just want them to resolve the whole Ted Cord thing. Like, that's all that matters to me, to be honest. Of course, we got our first look at Bullseye in Daredevil Born Again, which I already kind of hinted at or showed briefly in the previous monthly wrap-up and then discussed in a following short. And while it wasn't really what I expected, because, I was someone who was in the camp of, maybe he'll use a modified Daredevil suit, but sadly, that's not the case, but I'm feeling this suit, honestly. Plus, who knows, this could always be a starter suit, and then when he appears later, he could be in a more traditional Bullseye costume, but even if that's not the case, I'm pretty happy with this one. Like, it takes some cues from the Chipsarskis, blah, blah, blah. It takes some cues from the Chips... Why can't I say his name? It takes some cues from the Chips... Dang it. It takes some cues from the Chips... Dang it, I can't say his name. The suit looks like it takes some cues from the Chip Zdarsky run of Daredevil, and I kind of like that suit. According to The Angler, Nick Cage is in talks to return as Spider-Man Noir for the Spider-Man Noir Amazon Prime series, and I don't really have much else to say about this show, other than I think it's undergoing some rewrites right now, where it's being rewritten and reworked, along with the Silk series. And I'm curious if this will somehow tie into the Spider-Verse movies. Will this finally, are we finally going to start getting some Spider-Verse spin-offs from Sony instead of just random villain solo movies, which I kind of got into in my What the Heck is Mad Web Doing video, which you can find somewhere on the screen here. And just, I don't know, hopefully this could be a sign that we could finally start getting some Spider-Verse spin-off films with Spider-Man Noir, Silk. Again, give me a 29-9 trilogy, a Miles Morales trilogy, a Spider-Gwen trilogy. Just stop with the villain movies. Give us Spider-Verse stuff, please. Other than that, nothing much else to say about this other than, you can't go wrong with Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir. He is probably one of my favorite parts of the first Spider-Verse movie. We got a couple bits of news from good old Daniel RPK. For one, he offered some updates on the possible Midnight Suns movie. And apparently, Marvel is developing a Midnight Suns project, and they're looking at Michael Giacchino, who directed Werewolf by Night, to direct. And if this happens, I'll be happy because I loved Werewolf by Night, and I think he could do a pretty good job with a Midnight Suns, maybe, hopefully a special. I think they could work really well as a special. He also mentioned that the roster will not include anyone that's been on the Avengers, so no Doctor Strange, which makes sense because he's currently off doing something with Clea at the moment. I'm curious who will make up the roster. My vision is Elsa Bloodstone, Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight, Blade, and Wong. Maybe Black Knight, but I'm not sure what they're going to do with him anymore because one second he's going to be in Blade, the next what's his name? Yeah, I can't think of the actor's name right now, but he says he has no idea what's gonna happen next with his character, so I'm not gonna hold my breath that we'll see Black Knight anytime soon in the MCU. Also, according to Daniel RPK, Booster Gold has already been cast for the DCU, and this couldn't line up because James Gunn has mentioned that other DCU projects are going into development this year next to Superman Legacy, so Booster Gold could be one of them. For who I want to see play Booster Gold, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Glenn Powell, but I don't know. I'm torn between him for Booster Gold or Hal Jordan Green Lantern, and I also would mind seeing Chris Pratt as Booster Gold, but that might not happen because since he's going to be a key player or a big part in the DCU, I doubt Chris Pratt will want to double dip of DCU and MCU. So if we do see Chris Pratt, it might be in a smaller role. We'll just have to see what happens. Now on to probably the biggest news of February. For one, the MCU Fantastic Four has finally been cast. The rumors and reports can finally, at long last, after so many annoying reports and just being generally annoyed, it can stop. Pedro Pascal will play Mr. Fantastic. Vanessa Kirby will play the Invisible Woman. Joseph Quinn will play the Human Torch, and Ebon Moss-Backrack will play the Thing. And judging by the promo art we got on Valentine's Day, which that was quite the gift for Valentine's Day for us MCU fans. It looks like it'll be set in the 60s, or it will start in the 60s and end in present day, which is a pretty popular theory affiliated with the MCU Fantastic Four of they'll start in the 60s, and then by the end of the movie, they will wind up in present day, and then thus be a part of the main MCU. I'm pretty okay with most of the casting. Maybe Pedro Pascal I'm a bit hesitant on, but I'm going to save my judgment until I see some actual footage, because, guys, think about all the castings that we've been hesitant about, like Heath Ledger's Joker, and then once we see it, we're like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And, I don't know, Joseph Quinn, I'm not really too familiar with him, but, like I said, I'm going to save judgment for when I see footage. Probably the only many big castings left for the movie are Herbie, which, by the way, Bill Hader for Herbie, and the villain, and so far it sounds like Galactus is going to be the villain of the film, because he has been a pretty prevalent rumor throughout the current months of it's been reported he will be the villain of the film, and he'll be played by Javier Bardem, which I can get behind. But also, we could see Doctor Doom at the end of the movie. Now, originally I wasn't big on the idea of Galactus being the main villain of the first MCU Fantastic Four film, because it doesn't feel right. Like he's not a first movie villain kind of guy. A few years ago, I posted a sort of, my vision of a MCU Fantastic Four trilogy set in the 60s that would end in them coming the present day, where after those three films, they can maybe get one more film in the present day, then just be kind of in the background. And the villains of each film would be sort of a progression. So in the first movie, we would have the Frightful Four. And then in the second movie, it would be the Molecule Man. And then in the third and final film of the, first MCU F4 trilogy in the 60s, it would be Annihilus. And that would end with them being trapped in the negative zone by Doctor Doom. And of course, cut to present day, where they will be found and then brought back into, the current century. Or the current day. And I liked it originally, but of course, as I was thinking about it, as I was writing the script for this video, I was looking back at it, and I'm like, I like what I was going for, but I feel like I just kind of wasted Doctor Doom, because my thought was save him for like an Avengers level threat. Make him the villain of an Avengers movie, but then it'd be kind of weird that the Fantastic Four had never fought Doctor Doom prior to an Avengers movie, which I just don't think that would sit well with a lot of people, so, yeah. But going back to Galactus, like I said, I wasn't really for it, but then I sat down and I thought about it, and him being the villain of this movie, it could work. And I know this was sort of a long transition or whatever to this point, but just go with me here. Yes, he's a pretty big threat for a first MCU Fantastic Four film, but I think he could serve a purpose of getting them to the present day. Here's my theory about how this movie could end. So they fight Galactus, and the only way to stop him is to trap him in the negative zone, but the only way to do that is also trap themselves in the negative zone. So they do just that. They trap both themselves and Galactus in the negative zone, and they cut to present day, where Sword starts getting some weird readings, and then bing, bang, boom, they find the Fantastic Four. We can even get something from Nick Fury about him saying about to drop the F-bomb when the film ends, and then maybe in another Fantastic Four film, or maybe in another MCU film when they bring the Fantastic Four, Nick Fury could explain that S.H.I.E.L.D. sort of swept them under the rug after their disappearance, which, how cool would it be if we saw like Peggy Carter in the Fantastic Four film? I think that'd be pretty cool. I guess my only plot hole would be, what happens to Herbie? Like maybe Herbie stays behind, and then they come across Herbie, and he's like, oh yeah, I have friends in the negative zone, and then that's how they get them out. Or, I guess the question could be, can the negative zone even hold Galactus? I'm not the biggest Fantastic Four expert. I do want to get into the comics, but I haven't really read a lot of them lately, so I only know like basic stuff, the two movies, or I guess three movies, but we don't talk about the third one. and the 90s cartoon, which I have the box set of. So yeah, it might be on my to-do list this year to read some Fantastic Four comics. But of course, there's also the if this movie is set in the 60s on Earth 616, because there's a rumor or theory that this could be set in a different universe, which might make more sense with the Doctor Doom rumor kind of going down a bit of a rabbit hole here. I mean, if it's set in the 60s on Earth 616 and the movie ends with the Four going to the negative zone but Doctor Doom remains, he'd be kind of old by the time they get out. Well, too old to fight. Well, maybe he uses magic to stay young. Who knows? Like, I'm really curious to see how this movie is going to work out. And lastly, we got a lot of stuff for Superman Legacy. I mean, Superman. It went down this month. I mean, we got a lot for this movie. For one, they had a table read with all the key players present, and we got a hint at what the Superman logo could look like, and as well as the casting of Terrence Rosemore as Otis, a character from the Richard Donner Superman movie. And as of Friday, Wendell Pierce will play Perry White, and I'm not quite familiar with him. All I know from is from Jack Reacher, but he definitely gives me Perry White vibes thinking about it. And next to the start of principal photography, we're also just filming. They're filming in, I think, Norway right now, so probably some Portrait of Solitude stuff. We got our first look at the Superman logo, and I'm digging it, to be honest. Like it was theorized, reported, hinted at with the name cards. It's taking cues from the Kingdom Come logo with the classic red and yellow and a yellow border similar to the Fletcher cartoons. This also leads into what I'm dubbing, or what has been dubbed, the reverse Kingdom Come theory. Some people see the symbol and automatically think that Superman is going to adapt the Kingdom Come story, which is a story of Superman coming out of retirement into a world very similar to The Boys, where heroes just kind of run rampant, lawless, they only care about fame and glory and all that stuff, like, again, The Boys. But the reverse Kingdom Come theory is basically Superman entering a world full of heroes that are already like this, like they are lawless, tough, only care about fame and glory. Like, I think James Gunn kind of said it better in the whole DCAU slate reveal, or the first part of the slate reveal. Like, basically, he shows up, sees sort of the chaos that's going on with heroes running around, and he shows them what it's like to be a true hero. And this sounds like a pretty good idea for a Superman movie. Nothing we've really done before in a previous Superman film, and you can definitely expect me to cover a lot of the stuff when it comes out, like first look at suits. Like, I will try to be on top of that. I will try and cover that stuff as it comes out with this movie. Yeah, and that is it for today, and kind of a light month, to be honest. I mean, some news, but nothing really groundbreaking other than the casting of the Fantastic Four and all the stuff with Superman. And yeah, so until next time, make sure to follow me on I can't say Apple Podcasts, but that's not a thing anymore. Make sure to follow me on Google Podcasts, Spotify. Leave me a 5-star rating and give you where you can. If you watch me on YouTube, do the usual stuff of like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, happy to stay well, stay healthy, and I will see you or talk to you next time. Peace out.